NATO the world's protector or the world's greatest threat? Depending on who you ask, they will see NATO as saviors or enemies. Today, we're going to be talking, well, let's just say that we're going to be asking a few questions. A few questions that, in my mind, have made NATO not our friends, but our, in fact, the biggest potential enemy that we want to have to be dealing with in the future. First of all, NATO was implemented to, quote unquote, keep the peace. In that aspect, it sounds really good. But you need to ask yourself, what is the main element of any organization? Let me know in the comment section below. You probably guessed it. It's growing. NATO is constantly growing. NATO is absorbing more and more of your tax money and gets involved into a lot of, well, let's say, questionable aspects of countries. In one of those countries is a big R. NATO has broken their promise to expand over and over and over. So that country itself has seen that as an encroachment. And honestly, think about it. If your neighbor keeps moving their fence into your property, how you will see it. Now, in the name of peace, NATO have come into other countries and, well, let's say that interventions in Libya led to a long-term instability, humanitarian crisis, and fell to what they preach, long-lasting peace. That's just to give you an example. In my opinion, I believe that it's being used as a tool to dominate the world and enforces ideologies that many may not like. In fact, why should you like the way that I think, right? You should be free to think whatever you want. Well, that's not the way NATO works. In the name of peace, we're going to go there, destroy your country, destabilize everything, and then we're going to leave and leave you, to figure it out by yourself. No. So there are countries that BRICS Alliance shift is trying to shift power from NATO global control. NATO does not like that. I mean, do you think you're going to like if a competition comes into your neighborhood and you're like, all right, yeah, this is my lemonade stand, and that dude puts a lemonade stand there. You like, no, this is my business. So you may have a problem with that. Well, this is the same thing when you're talking about global scales. NATO is taking money from a lot of people. So if somebody else comes in, they're not going to like that. And for those of you who don't know, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are part of the BRICS, and it's increasingly challenging NATO dominance by promoting alternative political and economic alliances. Now, everything that has a beginning has an end. The U.S. cannot be the police of the world. The U.S. is the biggest contributor for NATO. We are in trouble, and the fact that we are sending money elsewhere, well, should give you something to think of. You can't send money that you don't have, and that's what we have been doing. So NATO to me is a black hole to the US. Another thing that I would like you all to think about is that NATO has military power. It's not just to go there and negotiate in good faith, and be a mediator. No, it does have military power. And like every kid with a new toy, they want to play with it. There's a very good example going on right now between the big R and another country that, NATO is getting involved. And that country is not part of NATO, but still getting involved. So that to me is somebody putting their noses where it doesn't belong. And those military actions tend to leave a lot of civilians injured. And again, they destabilize the region, and that, to me, honestly, not only causes harm, or more harm than good, but it also raises a lot of ethical dilemmas. I mean, who are you to come into a country and impose your laws? NATO's role should have been as a mediator, not as a military power. If NATO was a mediator with zero military power, then in my opinion it would have been better. But that is not the case. And the final thing is, let me put it like this, just like I start my video. If you're not part of NATO, then you're going to be against it. That's the way they see it. So if I choose not to be part of it and not to pay dues to that organization, then I can potentially have an enemy with a lot of resources. So I now have somebody breathing down my neck because I choose to live my life the way that I want without asking permission. Are you okay with that? Now, let me ask you this. How will you feel if you have NATO soldiers coming into the US, armed, and telling you what to do? You often probably have seen the pictures with little blue helmets, and you're like, come on, take it. So if we would never allow that, what makes it okay for them to go to other countries? Let me know down in the comment section below. That is a very important question that everybody should be asking. We don't want any foreign soldiers coming into our country telling us what to do. In fact, we don't want any soldiers at all in our country telling us what to do. So in my opinion, to be honest, I believe that NATO will be the catalyst for World War III. Now, many people may disagree with me, but based on the things that I'm seeing, based on the involvement that they are usually in, and the way they operate, they want that. They want that because they need to grow way more, and at the end of the day, all they're gonna want is total control of the world. So in my opinion, NATO is not the world's protector. NATO is one of this world's greatest threats. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like always, rock on, prep on, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.